If it feels like nothing is happening, take a moment to look beneath the surface, because everything is on the brink of a dramatic shift. The energy that once felt sluggish and immovable is preparing to accelerate, and whether you realize it or not, you're standing at the threshold of a powerful transformation. Tomorrow marks the official end of Mars retrograde, a celestial turning point that signifies more than just the conclusion of delays, frustrations, and stagnant energy. It is the cosmic green light you've been waiting for, a moment when everything that has felt stuck finally starts to move again. But the real question is, are you truly ready for what comes next? Many assume that planetary shifts like this are simply part of the natural astrological cycle. Something to note in passing, but not necessarily life-changing. But what if this particular shift carries a force strong enough to reshape not just your energy levels and motivation, but your entire trajectory? What if, without realizing it, you've been living in a kind of energetic holding pattern, and now that restraint is lifting? Mars retrograde didn't just slow things down, it restructured your inner world, forcing you to confront what wasn't working, what wasn't aligned, and what was quietly draining your drive. And now, as the red planet regains momentum, it's not simply releasing you back into motion, it's catapulting you forward. Imagine all the pent-up energy that has been accumulating over these past months. It hasn't disappeared. It has been building like pressure behind a dam. And when Mars begins moving forward, that dam doesn't just open, it bursts. If you're not prepared, this surge can feel overwhelming, like a tidal wave crashing into your life. But if you know how to ride the wave, it can carry you further than you ever imagined. This is the moment to ask yourself, what has been missing? What parts of yourself have felt distant, unmotivated, or disconnected? Because that wasn't just in your head. Mars took something from you during its retrograde. It stripped away illusions, exposed weaknesses, and forced you to acknowledge the areas where you lacked direction or conviction. Now, as it moves forward, it's handing you back something even more valuable: clarity, purpose, and a newfound sense of drive. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just about movement. It's about acceleration. The energy ahead is not just about picking up where you left off, but about moving forward with a level of intensity and momentum that can feel almost disorienting. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. If you've felt stuck, that chapter is over. But you must be intentional about how you channel this energy. This is a rare opportunity to realign with your deepest ambitions, to take action on the things you've been hesitant about, and to harness this momentum in a way that creates lasting change. So, take a deep breath and prepare yourself. The shift is here. The question is no longer whether things will change. It's whether you're ready to embrace the transformation that's already unfolding. Some individuals will experience this cosmic shift with an intensity that feels almost overwhelming, while others may notice it only subtly. However, for those who are highly attuned to planetary movements, the effects of this transition have likely already begun to manifest. The influence of Mars is not a gentle whisper, but a powerful roar, one that carries the essence of raw ambition, pure determination, and an unstoppable surge of energy. As this planet regains its momentum, those who are most sensitive to its force will feel it slam back into their lives with undeniable impact. It won't be a slow, creeping change, but an electrifying jolt that reignites dormant passions, fuels motivation, and pushes people toward action in ways they might not have anticipated. If you've recently found yourself experiencing an inexplicable rush of energy, a series of intense emotional waves, or even moments of dizziness or disorientation, know that this is not mere coincidence. These sensations are manifestations of Mars reawakening, its energy crackling back to life after a period of dormancy. This shift is particularly potent for those who have felt creatively blocked, uninspired, or uncertain about their next steps. If lethargy has been weighing you down, if you've been stuck in a cycle of hesitation and self-doubt, this cosmic event is the signal that the tide is turning. The force that has kept things stagnant is finally dissipating, and all the plans, ideas, and ambitions that seem to be in limbo are about to surge forward with unstoppable force. The most crucial period of this transition lies in the immediate aftermath, specifically the first 24 hours after Mars stations direct. Many assume that planetary shifts unfold gradually, but this is a misconception. The reality is far more dynamic. This moment is charged with raw, unfiltered power, an untamed cosmic current ready to be channeled by those who dare to act decisively. The energy at play does not favor hesitation. It rewards boldness, clarity, and initiative. While some may linger in uncertainty, waiting for a sign or seeking reassurance, those who step forward with confidence will harness the full momentum of this shift. This is where the distinction between those who create their own fate and those who passively wait for change becomes starkly apparent. Many will second-guess themselves, over-analyzing their choices, fearing missteps, and ultimately missing the brief yet powerful window of opportunity. But for those who trust their instincts, who recognize that the universe is handing them an open door, the rewards will be immediate. Momentum will build rapidly, propelling them forward with an exhilarating sense of purpose. This is not just about movement. It's about acceleration, about breaking free from the inertia that has kept so many confined to old patterns. Ultimately, the way you respond to this shift will shape the trajectory of the next 2 months. Will you embrace the surge, take action, and ride the wave of momentum? Or will you hesitate, allowing doubt to slow you down just as the universe is urging you to leap forward? The energy of Mars does not wait for permission. It ignites, it fuels, and it demands movement. Those who recognize this, who step into their power without hesitation, will not only feel the shift, they will become the shift itself. Yes, before watching the entire video, I want to say one thing. If you appreciate even a little bit of the effort I've put into this content, please consider donating a super thanks. If there's something you've been putting off, an opportunity you've hesitated to seize, a decision you've been overanalyzing, a bold, new direction you've considered but kept second-guessing, now is the time to act. The energy of this moment is different, charged with a momentum that magnifies everything you do. Every step forward carries more weight than usual, as if the universe itself is amplifying your actions, pushing you toward the breakthrough you've been waiting for. This is not just another subtle shift in the cosmic tide. It's an ignition point, a catalytic burst of energy that demands movement. Mars, the planet of drive, ambition, and action, is no longer restrained. Its influence is not gentle. It's raw, urgent, and unfiltered. This planet governs not just motivation, but also passion, instinct, and even aggression. When Mars is unleashed, there is no in-between. It's full speed ahead, whether you're ready or not. The hesitation that has lingered in your mind, the doubts that kept you stuck in the same cycle, the inertia that made everything feel slow and heavy, all of it is about to dissolve. What was stagnant will finally be set into motion. But here's the thing. When a force like Mars is set free, not everyone will handle it the same way. Think of a dam that has held back an immense, rushing river for too long. When it finally cracks, the water doesn't trickle out. It surges forward with unstoppable intensity. This is the kind of release that's happening now. Some will use this energy to propel themselves toward long-awaited goals, to break free from limitations, to assert their power in ways they never dared before. But others, unable to control the flood of emotions they've suppressed, may explode in ways they never intended. Anger, resentment, frustration, all the feelings that have been swallowed for months or even years, could suddenly erupt without warning. This moment is about choice. You can let this surge of energy fuel your progress, guiding you to take bold action, to speak your truth, to move forward with clarity and strength. Or, if left unchecked, it could manifest in chaos, in impulsive decisions, in words spoken in haste that can't be taken back. The power of Mars is neither good nor bad. It simply is. It is pure, unfiltered momentum. What you do with it will determine whether this is the breakthrough you've been waiting for or a storm you struggle to contain. So ask yourself, what have you been holding back? What have you been waiting for? Because the waiting is over. The energy is here. The dam has broken. The path ahead is yours to take. But you must take it now. There's a storm brewing beneath the surface, and it's about to erupt in ways that many won't expect. You may notice people snapping over the smallest things, engaging in unnecessary conflicts, or making impulsive choices that they'll later wish they could undo. Tension that has been simmering quietly for weeks, or even months, is finally reaching a breaking point. Those who have suppressed too much, who have bitten their tongues when they should have spoken, or who have ignored their emotions in favor of maintaining appearances, are now at risk of losing control. The weight of unspoken words and unacknowledged frustrations is too heavy to bear. And when it spills out, it won't be in a calm or constructive manner. But here's the key. You don't have to be swept away by this chaos. You can choose a different path. This surge of energy, while volatile, is not inherently destructive. It's raw power, and like any powerful force, it can be directed toward creation or destruction. Think of it like a fire. It can burn everything to the ground, or it can provide the warmth and light you need to move forward. The difference lies in how you handle it. Right now, you're standing at a crossroads. You can allow this force to throw you into impulsivity, reactivity, and regret. Or you can seize it, harness it, and use it as a catalyst for transformation. The key is in your awareness. If you feel the pressure building, recognize it for what it is, an opportunity. Instead of reacting impulsively, ask yourself, where does this energy want to go? What part of my life is demanding movement? What have I been suppressing that now needs to be expressed in a productive way? And here's something that most people haven't realized yet. This shift isn't just about external drama or heightened emotions. There's something deeper happening beneath the surface. You may not have noticed it yet, but if you take a step back, you'll see it clearly. This is the moment when something that has been missing finally returns. Remember when I told you that Mars retrograde didn't just slow things down, but actually took something from you? That it subtly drained you of your drive, your fire, your ability to move forward effortlessly. You may not have recognized it at the time, but now, as things begin to shift, you'll start to feel the difference. If you've been feeling sluggish, uninspired, or like you've been running in place with no real progress, it's not just in your head. This past period has been like walking through mud. Every step required more effort than usual, and even when you pushed forward, it felt like you weren't getting anywhere. That wasn't your imagination. It was the weight of an invisible force holding you back, draining you of your instinctual drive. But now, that force is lifting. The fire that had been dimmed is starting to reignite. You may not feel it all at once, but pay attention. You'll notice small signs of it returning. A spark of motivation where there was none. a sense of clarity where things once felt foggy, a sudden urge to take action, to move, to break free from stagnation. This is your moment of reclamation. What was taken is being returned, but the way you use it is up to you. Will you allow this energy to throw you into chaos, reacting recklessly and adding fuel to unnecessary conflicts? Or will you harness it, directing it towards something meaningful, your goals, your ambitions, your next big leap forward? Power is something you can either control or be controlled by. The choice is yours, and this moment will define how you move forward. So take a deep breath, ground yourself, and step into this next phase with intention, because what happens next is entirely in your hands. Mars retrograde is often framed as a time of setbacks, delays, and frustration. But what most don't realize is that it serves a much greater purpose. It doesn't just return what was lost, it transforms it. It refines your energy, sharpens your instincts, and reignites the fire within you in a way that's undeniable. And this shift isn't something you consciously decide to make. It's already happening. Slowly at first, in ways so subtle you might not even notice. Maybe you make a decision without second-guessing yourself for the first time in months. Maybe you feel an urge to speak up where you once would have stayed silent. Maybe you trust your gut, and for once, it feels like it's leading you exactly where you need to be. Then, almost before you realize it, these small moments of certainty start to add up. The hesitation that once held you back begins to dissolve. The voice in your head that used to question every move no longer asks, "Should I?" Instead, it commands with unwavering confidence, "Go." And here's the most powerful part. You're not forcing it. You're not pushing yourself to be brave, to act boldly, or to trust yourself more. It's happening naturally, as if something deep within you has been reawakened, something that had been dormant, waiting for the right moment to rise again. You're not just reclaiming the person you were before Mars retrograde. You're stepping into a version of yourself that's more powerful than ever. This version of you doesn't hesitate. It doesn't overanalyze or get lost in endless internal debates. It moves with certainty, with a kind of fearlessness that can't be shaken. And once that fire is lit, there's no extinguishing it. A profound shift is occurring in your mind. The cycle of overthinking, of questioning every decision, of endlessly debating the pros and cons before taking even the smallest step, that cycle is breaking. Because Mars doesn't wait. Mars doesn't analyze or overcomplicate. Mars acts. And now, so will you. The last few months may have felt slow, frustrating, even stagnant. But they weren't wasted. They were necessary. You needed to feel what it was like to be disconnected from your own drive, to experience hesitation, to question yourself, to wonder if you had lost your momentum. You needed to understand what it felt like to be uncertain, so that when this shift happened, you would recognize the difference. Because this isn't just about moving faster or making decisions more quickly. It's about something far deeper, a level of clarity so strong that you can't ignore it, a certainty that comes from the core of who you are, a knowing that doesn't require logic or justification. It just is. Mars retrograde didn't just pause your progress, it recalibrated you. It stripped away the distractions, the unnecessary doubts, the fears that held you back, so that now, as you emerge from it, you do so with unshakable confidence. You're no longer asking for permission from yourself or anyone else. You're no longer waiting for the perfect moment. You're no longer holding back. The fire within you has been reignited, and this time, nothing will put it out. You're going to feel it deep in your bones. That shift, that moment when your mind, which once tangled itself in endless loops of overthinking, suddenly clears. Where hesitation would have gripped you tight, there will now be movement, effortless and instinctive, as if something greater than yourself is quietly steering you forward. Decisions will no longer feel like weighty calculations, burdens requiring hours of internal debate. Instead, they will unfold naturally, almost as if they were preordained, as if the path had always been there, waiting for you to step onto it. And all you have to do is trust it. What's truly fascinating is that in time, you will look back at the person you once were, the one who stalled, who second-guessed, who lingered in uncertainty, and you won't even recognize them. That version of you, the one who hesitated, the one who feared making the wrong move, will feel like a distant memory, a shadow of someone you used to be. Because when Mars propels forward, there is no more room for stagnation. The waiting game ends, the excuses dissolve, and the self-imposed limitations that kept you tethered to the past simply lose their grip. It's not just change, it's transformation, a complete shedding of the old to make way for something raw, powerful, and undeniably real. For months now, something has felt off. Maybe it was subtle, an underlying sense of misalignment that you couldn't quite name. Maybe it showed up in small ways, an inexplicable frustration, a restlessness, a vague but persistent feeling that something was missing. Or maybe it was louder, manifesting as a series of setbacks, delays, and moments that made you question everything. You told yourself it was just a phase, a temporary slump, something you could push through with enough effort. But Mars doesn't deal in illusions. It doesn't care about the stories you've told yourself to make things seem okay when they weren't. Mars is raw, unfiltered truth. And now, as it surges forward, it's going to rip the blindfold off. And when it does, it might shake you to your core. Because what you thought was stability may have been stagnation. What you assumed was patience may have been fear. What you accepted as fate may have just been a comfort zone, disguised as destiny. But here's the thing. This shake-up isn't meant to break you. It's meant to wake you up, to remind you of the fire within you, the energy that has always been there, waiting for you to finally use it. And now, there's no turning back. The momentum is here. The shift is real. And the only thing left to do is step into it, fully and without hesitation. There comes a point when the illusions you've held on to begin to crack, revealing the raw and unfiltered truth beneath. That relationship you've been tolerating, the one you kept justifying with half-truths and misplaced hope, will stand before you in its undeniable reality. No more romanticizing, no more convincing yourself that it's not that bad. You'll see it and you'll feel it, not just as a passing thought, but as something that settles deep in your bones, impossible to ignore. That job you drag yourself to, the one that drains your energy, dims your spirit, and leaves you running on empty, the exhaustion won't be something you can explain away anymore. The moment Mars moves direct, it strips away the justifications. No more pretending that the paycheck is worth the misery, or that stability is an acceptable trade-off for constant depletion. The truth becomes clear. Staying where you are is costing you far more than the fear of change ever could. And then there are the smaller things, the habits, the beliefs, the patterns you've clung to as a safety net. The excuses you've made for why you keep doing what you do. Those will crumble, too. That toxic dynamic, that self-sabotaging cycle, that comfort zone built on fear rather than true security. Suddenly, none of it will feel comfortable anymore. Because when Mars moves forward, it doesn't simply bring awareness. It delivers a visceral, undeniable knowing. You won't just think it, you'll feel it, like a sudden jolt to your entire system. A wake-up call so potent that denying it would take more energy than facing it. This is the moment when your comfort zone collapses. Not slowly, not gently, but in a way that demands your attention. You'll stand at a crossroads with only two choices: step into the truth or remain in the wreckage of your own denial. But here's the paradox. The truth, as harsh as it may seem at first, isn't here to destroy you. It's here to liberate you. It doesn't come to take away, it comes to make space for something better. And the moment you stop fighting it, everything changes. Deep within you, a force awakens. It is clarity, strength, and an unwavering certainty about what must be done. Some will resist, clinging desperately to what's familiar, even as it disintegrates in their hands. But that won't work anymore. Because when Mars reveals something, it's irreversible. You can't unknow the truth once you've seen it. You can't go back to pretending. And that leaves you with only one real decision. Take action, or let fear chain you to a version of yourself that no longer fits. One path leads to freedom, growth, and alignment with your true self. The other, a slow, painful decline into stagnation, where avoidance becomes your prison. But here's the thing. Ignoring the truth will cost you far more than facing it ever will. Because the longer you resist change, the more life will push you toward it, whether you're ready or not. This is your moment. The universe is handing you a choice, not as a test, but as an invitation. Will you take it? Will you rise? Or will you let the weight of fear hold you back from the life that's waiting for you on the other side of truth? For weeks, life has felt like it's moving in slow motion. Every day has blurred into the next, weighed down by an invisible heaviness. The spark that once ignited your passions has been dim, barely flickering, and even the simplest tasks have felt exhausting. Motivation has been a distant memory, and inspiration, when it did appear, was fleeting, never enough to break through the stagnant air of inertia. But something is shifting now. A force that had been lying dormant is stirring once again, and this time it refuses to be ignored. The fire is returning, not as a flicker, but as an unstoppable blaze. Mars, the celestial force of raw energy and fearless determination, governs the element of fire, and when it stirs, so does the very essence of your being. It is not a gentle awakening, but a powerful ignition, a force that surges through your veins, reigniting the passion, drive, and instinct that may have once lain dormant. Where there was once stagnation, there is now movement. Where indecision clouded your judgment, clarity now shines through like a beacon. It's not just a shift in mindset, it's a visceral transformation. You don't merely think about taking action, you feel the urgency in your muscles, in your breath, in the way your heart beats just a little faster. Your body aligns with your mind, and suddenly, the hesitation that once held you back dissolves. There was a time when tasks felt heavy, when even the simplest decisions required effort, as if moving through molasses. But now, the weight lifts. That overwhelming sense of paralysis fades, replaced by an exhilarating certainty. The things that once seemed daunting now carry a thrill. The projects you put off no longer intimidate you. Instead, they call to you, urging you to dive in with an eagerness that surprises even yourself. The energy is undeniable, and it doesn't demand effort. It flows naturally, an unstoppable force pushing you forward. This is not about forcing yourself into motion or waiting for the perfect opportunity. It's about feeling the shift and surrendering to it. One morning, you will wake up and realize that the doubts that used to whisper in the back of your mind have fallen silent. The fog that clouded your path has lifted. There is no longer a need for second-guessing or over-analyzing. Instead, you move with a confidence that feels both foreign and deeply familiar. as if you are returning to a version of yourself you were always meant to be. This is the power of Mars. Unstoppable, relentless, and fiercely alive. It does not ask for permission. It simply burns through hesitation, clearing the way for action. And as it awakens within you, you will no longer feel like a spectator in your own life. You will step forward, not because you have to, but because you cannot imagine doing anything else. Fire is not just a force of creation. It is equally a force of destruction. It is a surge of energy that refuses to be contained, burning away anything that no longer serves you. This is not a gentle shift or a slow evolution. This is a reckoning, a moment when the truth can no longer be ignored. If you have been suppressing emotions, turning a blind eye to your intuition, or convincing yourself to endure what drains you, that ends now. Fire, especially when fueled by Mars' relentless force, does not tolerate stagnation. It does not allow comfort to outweigh necessity. If something in your life is built on weak foundations, it will not withstand this intensity. It will crumble, whether you're ready for it or not. Relationships that have outlived their purpose, jobs that stifle rather than inspire, habits that keep you small, these will all be illuminated under this energy. Nothing can remain hidden. The heat of this transformation will force you to see what you may have been avoiding, to confront what you may have been resisting. And while this process may be painful, it is also an undeniable liberation. For some, this will feel exhilarating, like a long overdue breakthrough, like a wildfire clearing the way for new growth. For others, it may feel like everything is falling apart, like the ground beneath them is shifting uncontrollably. But regardless of how it manifests, the purpose remains the same: to remove the barriers that have been keeping you from stepping fully into your power. This is not an energy that asks for permission. It doesn't wait for you to feel prepared or secure. It demands action. It demands truth. It forces you to recognize what is essential and what is merely a distraction. And in doing so, it presents you with a choice. Will you resist, clinging to what is familiar even as it disintegrates in your grasp? Or will you surrender, allowing the flames to consume what no longer belongs so that you may rise from the ashes, reborn and unburdened? Transformation is never easy. It is raw, intense, and often uncomfortable. But it is also necessary. The fire does not come to destroy you. It comes to refine you, to strip away the illusions and leave behind only what is real. Whether this energy propels you forward with renewed clarity and purpose, or forces you to release and rebuild, one thing is certain: you will not emerge from this unchanged. And perhaps, when the flames have settled and the smoke has cleared, you will see that this was not an ending at all, but a powerful, undeniable beginning. There is no returning to the past, no rewinding time to the comfort of what once was. The path forward is the only path, and the only way to reach what lies ahead is to move through the present with courage. The moment you surrender to this truth, you'll recognize something profound. You were never meant to remain stagnant, never meant to shrink yourself to fit into a space that no longer serves you. You were born to expand, to evolve, to blaze with an energy so fierce and undeniable that it lights up the world around you. Right now, the universe is offering you something rare and powerful, a force unlike anything ordinary. This isn't the fleeting burst of motivation that flickers like a candle in the wind. It's deeper, stronger, something raw and unfiltered. It's the kind of momentum that doesn't just nudge you forward, but demands that you step fully into your power. This is the energy that dissolves hesitation and turns self-doubt into boldness. It transforms quiet dreams into tangible,
undeniable realities. It is a force that has the potential to alter the course of your life, but only if you recognize it for what it is and embrace it fully. And here's where most people falter. They hesitate. They overanalyze. They let fear dictate their movements. Instead of stepping forward, they wait, searching for signs, asking for permission, seeking the perfect moment. But moments like these do not wait for anyone. They are like waves, arriving with force and leaving just as swiftly, if not seized. Those who fail to act will find that this once powerful force doesn't simply disappear. Instead, it lingers, mutating into something else entirely. What was once a fire meant to fuel your transformation will become a source of frustration, a reminder of what could have been. The motivation that surged within you, urging you to move, will settle into restlessness, gnawing at your spirit with unspoken regret. The quiet voice that once whispered, "This is your time," will fade into silence, replaced by the weight of what was left undone. But you are not meant to live in that space of longing and hesitation. You are not meant to watch your potential slip through your fingers. The momentum is here, now, waiting for you to claim it. All that is required is your willingness to step forward, to trust that you are capable, to understand that you were never meant to stay small. One of the greatest illusions we hold on to is the belief that inaction is neutral, that by remaining still, we can somehow pause the passage of time, halt change, and maintain a sense of control. But this is a false comfort, a lie we tell ourselves to justify hesitation. The truth is, energy is never stagnant. It is always in motion, always shifting, whether we guide it with intention or allow it to spiral into something destructive. If we do not harness our energy and channel it toward action, toward creation, exploration, risk, and growth, then it does not simply dissipate. Instead, it turns inward, and what could have been fuel for progress becomes the breeding ground for doubt, regret, and the slow, suffocating erosion of our own potential. There is a reason why those who continuously silence their desires, who push aside their dreams and settle for comfort, often carry a quiet heaviness within them. Even if they never speak of it, even if they bury it beneath routines and distractions, there is an undeniable weight in knowing they once had the chance to move forward, but chose instead to stay put. They might rationalize their inaction, convincing themselves that they had no choice, that the timing wasn't right, that circumstances were against them, that it was safer to wait. But deep inside, in the moments of stillness when there is no noise left to drown out their thoughts, they feel the presence of something lost. It lingers like a whisper, a ghost of roads not taken and possibilities left unexplored. The world is filled with people who once felt a spark, a deep, resounding certainty that they were meant for more, that they had something to offer, something to build, something to chase. And yet, so many of them let that fire dim, let fear, doubt, and comfort wrap around it, until it became nothing more than a flicker. They had the chance to step forward, to claim their place in the vast, unpredictable dance of life, but instead, they hesitated. They let their dreams slip through their fingers, not because they were incapable, but because they were unwilling to endure the discomfort that comes with change. And now, whether they admit it or not, they live in the aftermath of that hesitation. The truth is, every moment we delay, every opportunity we let pass, shapes us just as much as the actions we do take. Life does not wait for perfect conditions, and neither does fulfillment. The world keeps moving, and so must we. Because in the end, it is not just about the risks we avoid. It is about the lives we refuse to live when we choose to stand still. You don't have to be among those who let life pass them by. waiting for a perfect moment that never arrives. The individuals who craft extraordinary lives, who align with their deepest purpose, are not the ones who wait for absolute certainty or the ideal conditions. Instead, they are the ones who recognize momentum when it emerges, who feel the energy shifting in their favor and seize the opportunity, even if they don't feel fully prepared. They understand a fundamental truth. Hesitation is the silent killer of dreams, and the universe does not reward those who remain stagnant. Right now, a powerful force is at play, and whether you realize it or not, it is calling you to step forward. Mars, the planet of action, ambition, and determination, is fueling this energy, urging you to take bold steps toward the life you are meant to create. But this force is not infinite. It will not wait for you. If you do not claim it, if you let doubt and fear hold you back, this energy will turn against you, manifesting as frustration, inertia, or missed opportunities. This is not a passive influence. It demands movement, decisiveness, and courage. This moment is not just another fleeting chance, it is a turning point. It is the call you have been waiting for, the moment when you must choose between action and regret. Because make no mistake, this energy will be used. It will either be harnessed by you to build something meaningful, to push beyond your limits, to finally take that leap you've been postponing, or it will dissipate into the void, leaving you with nothing but the painful realization of what could have been. You don't need permission. You don't need every detail to be perfectly in place. What you need is the willingness to move, to trust yourself, and to recognize that this is not a rehearsal. This is your life. The universe is conspiring in your favor, aligning events and opportunities that will support you, but only if you meet it halfway. Step forward, take the risk, and embrace the momentum. Because if you don't, you may find yourself looking back one day, wondering how different everything could have been if only you had dared to act. If you're finding value in this content, consider supporting our channel by giving a super thanks. It truly makes a difference. And please don't forget to subscribe for more uplifting updates and content that can inspire and encourage you. Your support means so much, and we are grateful for each of you.